We're going to talk about using traditional line work with your thumbnail. So as you can see, I had a thumbnail and I've added some stuff here by using some photo collage to help me redraw the image on paper. Let's look at some of these layers. I used a combination of photos that I took myself for photo reference and also Google search images. So you can see this one here. I wanted to get this hummingbird is very posh and it's drinking tea, so it needs to have its pinky out this way, right? And so what does that look like? This is a combination of two photos of my arm, and you can see how they're pieced together there. A hummingbird body, some of my drawing. I needed a bigger cup here. What is it? A reference for the hand that's pouring the tea. I wasn't a fan of this teapot, so I found something that I like better. More of like what you would have with the queen, having tea with queen, some cakes here and there. Okay, I'm using multiply here to combine them in, and I just actually used this and redrew everything using this as a reference. So here's the drawing that I made. You can use pencil, that's fine. I used a gray marker for my underdrawing, and then I put black ink line work on top of that. Once you get your drawing on paper and you get it into the computer, into Photoshop, let's talk about how to put it into your source file. Since it's already in Photoshop, I'm just going to copy and paste it, edit. Well, first we have to select all. So select all, copy, edit copy, and then let's go to our source file and we're going to paste. You can also embed the image. Let's try that. So file, place embedded, and I'm gonna have to find it in my mess of things. Don't be like me, actually give things better names. Alright, now that it's a smart object layer, I'm going to resize it, and I'm using Command T, which you should know already, edit, which is also edit, free transform. This is a little crooked. I'm going to go in the corners here and I'm going to make it a little bit. I scanned it in a bit crooked there, so let's, you can line up the edge with that. And, okay, so that looks alright. One thing I did not do, and I did a bad job of, is I did not leave any space for text in my composition. So don't be like me. Have some space for text here. I think a good space for text might be up here, so I might want to rearrange some stuff. This is a smart object. I'm going to rasterize it. Right click, rasterize. Another thing is that when we saved our thumbnail image, we remember when we did a grayscale? So we grayscaled it before we changed the levels. In order to work in color, all you need to do, since it's a grayscale, is just go to image mode and let's make it RGB now. Always say don't merge. If you say merge, all your layers are going to flatten and you don't want that. So say don't merge. Even though it's confusing, it says that it wants you to merge, but just ignore that. Alright, so it should be something like this now. We put our layer in, and let's clean this up a bit since I used a bunch of images for photo reference in my source file. Let's talk about folders. We haven't done that. I'm gonna put everything in order. So my sketch, this is my line work layer. That's at the top. Everything else here is part of my sketch. It's part of my template. And I'm going to put it in a folder. If you just click on this folder button, everything that's highlighted, it goes in this group. And let's call this template. I didn't talk about unlocking because we did lock our template from before. To lock and unlock, it's very simple. You just click on this lock button. So if your template from before is locked, just lock and unlock it in order to be able to do things with it. And the nice thing is that I can hide this group now. Let's put this line work layer to multiply so that you can kind of check it according to your original template. And let's see how well I drew that, right? So you can kind of align it the way that your template is, and maybe you decide you want to change some stuff around. Okay. Let's do some image correcting here, the same exact way we did with the thumbnail. Image adjustment levels. This is working destructively. It's going to affect the entire layer, which is fine because I just want to make this line work a little crisper and to get the white of the paper to be as white as possible. See how I'm moving the gray arrow? This is going to hide a lot of my underdrawing that I did with my gray marker. I'm going to say OK. And you can take the eraser tool and erase whatever you don't want at this point. So maybe I don't need this stuff here. Maybe at this point I decide that I need to extend some things in my line work, like this doesn't extend and I wanted to make it cropped. I'm taking the lasso tool and I'm going to take the move tool and I'm going to press Option. Option is going to give you a duplicate, and I can just kind of take that and like extend it a little bit. I'm doing it a bunch of times. It's all on the same layer. Deselect, Command D for deselect, and I can take the eraser now and kind of adjust this line a little bit more. Eraser, the brush is set to hardness 100, which means it's a clean break. If hardness is set to 0, your break is airbrushed. Depends what kind of effect you want. Another thing when you're erasing that's great is, say I want to erase in a straight line. I'm going to click once. Let's get our hardness 100. Click once, move your mouse, press Shift, and hold Shift, and click, and it's going to erase in a straight line. All that stuff is now erased. I just undo, I'm undoing, Command Z to get rid of that. So that's what I'm going to do over here to get a better making my brush bigger and smaller with the bracket keys, right? So there's a little cleaner, something like that. Okay, so this looks pretty good. I've got my line work in there. I could do some more touching up. You know, use the lasso tool or a combination of any selection tool. Say I decide I don't like that, I don't want that there. I could go ahead and delete it. I could cut it and paste it into a new layer. Edit, cut. Edit, paste. Now it's a new layer. When it's a new layer, I can move it wherever I want it. Say I want the cake, now I decide I want the cake down here instead of over there. And then, you know, you can like extend these lines, and that will give me more space for text up there. Say I like where this is and I want to combine my layers. We already know how to merge layers. To select more than one layer, I can press Command or Control click, Command E or Control E to merge. And I'm always gonna make this is my line work layer. So that's, you know, clean up your line work layer as much as you can, your drawing. In the next videos, we're going to talk about coloring. We're going to talk about removing the whites of the paper and changing the line work color. So that will come next week.